portions of this program may not be suitable for those under the age of 18. Parental guidance is suggested.
My name's Dave Troyer. I'm the Director of Golf at Common Ground Golf Course, who's the proud sponsor of the Beer30 Show. And you are listening to the Beer30 Show with Danny and Joel.
Alrighty. Beer30 is when you walk into a bar or a VFW, and in that 30 seconds, you can already tell.
That guy right there is drunk, that guy's an idiot, and that guy down there knows it all.
There are programs out there beyond the VA.
Many non-profit organizations. The Beer30 Show.
It's the Beer30 Show. Made by veterans.
For veterans.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting from Denver, Colorado, and Jacksonville, Florida, it is another edition of the Beer30 Show, our debut for a whole hour. It is Danny and Joel, and today our special guest that we have on today for our interview, we're talking to a really good non-profit. I mean, I never heard of him. That's the reason why I love this job so much, is because I learned so much about all these nonprofits and all these recreational organizations. Danny, how are you doing today, man?
I am doing fantastic. I went for my walk already, which has been great. My back's actually been hurting a little bit lately. You already know the whole issue with that.
Right.
So, yeah, it's starting to flare up, and getting kind of worried about it, so I got to take it easy, even though I don't want to. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. Already had dinner, so that's amazing, you know, since it's like 2 o'clock in the morning for you, since the time change, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not too bad. I like this. This is the first time we're on prime time, so.
Oh, I know. It's going to be great.
But without further ado, I can't pronounce his last name, so of course I'm going to let him pronounce it. We have Ron.
Good evening, Danny. Good evening, Joel. This is Ron DeFreitas. I'm the founder and chief financial officer of the Real American Heroes Foundation.
Awesome. Ron, thank you so much for coming on here and talking about your organization and not only finding some financial help, but also introducing to some soldiers that might not know about it. Where are you located?
We're actually located about 20 miles south, actually 25 miles south of Washington, D.C., in Woodbridge, Virginia. We actually started the foundation 6 years ago, and the very first event we had actually took place at Fort Belvoir in Northern Virginia.
Nice. So you told us a little bit of where your location and stuff is. How about you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to start up this organization?
Sure. About 10 to 12 years ago, my son and I really were getting into bass fishing quite heavily. And I got contacted by a wounded veteran and asked if I'd help out with a veterans tournament out on the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. It was a weekend event, 2 days, and I had the opportunity to meet a wonderful soldier, Jason Letterman, who had lost both his legs fishing. Serving. And I went and spent the 2 days taking him fishing and talking to him and his family. He was having a rough time. He had just come out of Walter Reed for the weekend. And we talked fishing a lot. We actually helped him get some nice fish. He actually, I believe, came in first with the largest fish of the day with his 2 kids. And I learned that it was really an eye-opening experience for me. You know, here I am helping out, thinking, well, you know, I can't believe what these guys have gone through to protect my freedom and make it where my family's free and can have a nice life, and I can have a nice life, and we can do the things that most people just take for granted. But by the time the tournament was over, I actually realized he had given me more back than what I had given him. And what I mean by that, guys, is I took a good look at my life afterwards. I was someone who was extremely materialistic, and always trying to one-up, neighbors and friends and stuff. And it made me realize that the importance of life is really not about material objects. It's about helping your fellow man, helping folks have a better life so that they can enjoy their time, and helping them on their path to recovery, which is really important for what they've actually gone through, to get them back into a nice recreational hobby that allows them to relax and get away from all the stresses of modern day life. And it was, like I said, really eye-opening to do that. And that individual is Jason Letterman. I actually still talk to him to this day, and he was the inspiration behind me actually starting this foundation.
That's awesome. I mean, for a second there, I was about to ask you how big that fish was. I mean,
it was a catfish. It was about 9 pounds.
I'm talking about the one that took his legs.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I'm just joking. I like to catch, those things. But that's really cool. I mean, the fishing aspect. I'm not sure if Joel remembers when we were in high school together. I'd get home from school and I'd walk down to a pond by my house and go fishing almost daily. It was very soothing and very relaxing, so that's always a pretty cool thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was like in the dark ages.
Yeah, see, we've actually found that fishing really brings you back to nature and really allows you to sit and enjoy all the things around you that you really don't even realize a lot of times that people take for granted. You see the osprey, you see the bald eagles, you see the beavers. You get an opportunity to fish. And in some cases, some of the guys we take out, they're just happy being out in the bass boat. And they're like, hey, listen, let's drop the hammer down and let's take it for a nice ride. And it's a lot of the guys we take out actually become lifelong friends with the boat captains that actually take them out. And it instead of it being just a one-time thing, it turns into multiple times out on the water together, and great bonds and friendships are formed.
That's awesome. And since you already brought up the missing limbs, we might as well talk about the Wounded Hero fishing system. So go ahead and tell us about that.
Sure. A few years ago, I was approached by a gentleman named Ed Handley. He had gone and spoken to all the big players in the nonprofit industry for veterans. I won't name any names, but they're the ones with the deep pockets with the tens of millions of dollars in the bank. And he had told him his son Patrick had lost an arm, and one of the things that the two of them really enjoyed doing was fishing. And Patrick was really in a bad place in his life. He was suicidal, but luckily he didn't have the strength to hurt himself. So he contacted us as a last resort, and he told me this, about his son and his fighting in Iraq and what happened, and asked if there was any way I could help get the two of them out on the water together. And he told me, I know you're a small foundation and you don't have the funds like all these big ones, but can you point me somewhere? Well, what I did, after our conversation, I told him, I said, listen, we don't have that kind of money, but I'm going to make this a personal mission of myself. I am going to design something for your son, Patrick, and we'll bring it to him. Give me a few weeks. And I actually came up with a one-armed Wounded Hero fishing system. It allows our warriors that have lost the use of a limb or lost their limb to actually be able to fish with one arm in hand. And it's quite a device. It's a little motor that goes where the crank is on a normal fishing reel, and it's got a trigger switch on it so you can open up the bail arm on the spinning reel. You can cast out, and we've got a variable speed switch like you'd see on a power drill, and it allows them to use their finger, open up the bail arm, cast out, press that thumb switch, and they can bring that bait back however they'd like, whether it's a fast retrieve, a slow retrieve, a stop and go. It allows them to enjoy the same things out on the water like everyone else can. And the great thing about it, the ones that are out in the industry right now, outside of ours, after about 10 or 12 casts, the guy's arms hurt because they weigh about 10 to 12 pounds. Ours only adds 3 ounces to the weight of the fishing rod and reel. It is truly high-tech. It's the only one like it in the industry. And I personally invested a lot of my own money to make this a reality, and was very thankful when I got it done to actually be able to go to Patrick's house and actually deliver one to him. And the one thing that was the eye-opener was he told me if he had had the strength a few weeks prior, he would have thrown himself off the balcony and committed suicide, which really scares me because I know how bad some of these injuries are to these guys, and the things people take for granted. People look at it and say, "Well, geez, there's not a physical injury. There's, they're fine. This isn't real." And it really hits home when you actually sit and spend some time with these guys, and you just let them open up. And for him to tell me that, it was a very personal thing for him to do. But when I showed him what we'd done for him, he started to perk back up, and we actually got him out fishing. Him and his dad. He actually caught a striper out at Lake Anna on it. It was the first fish he caught on it. And then last year we actually our big tournament in Stafford, Virginia. We had John Cruz, one of the Elite Series pros from the Bassmaster Tour, actually take him out fishing out on the Potomac River. So he had an unbelievable time with one of the top fishermen in the country. And it was really great. And since then, we've actually deployed 3 other ones. One gentleman, Staff Sergeant Travis Mills, he's up in Maine, is a quad amputee. And he used to fish with some of my friends. Well, actually not fish, but actually be out in the boat, and his wife would fish. And we actually custom designed one of the Wounded Hero fishing systems so it would adapt to his prosthetic arm that he had so that he could fish. And it is truly amazing. Our team RAHF members, I presented it to him after the awards banquet was done for the Bass Club. Heard him in the corner. He was actually in tears and said, I can't believe I'm going to be able to fish with my wife and my kids again. And things like that just warm our hearts. I mean, we're 100% volunteer, and to do things like this and transform people's lives is truly one of the nicest things we can do. And we actually feel that by doing it, we get a lot more back seeing these guys get back to a good point in their life, and for every good memory they have, we hope one of the bad memories goes away.
That's awesome. And, with you telling me that story, I want to say thank you. And I know how it feels to help veterans, because that's one of the reasons why veterans, I believe, help other veterans. That's the reason why me and Danny, we do this show on a volunteer basis pretty much right out of our house, believe it or not. And a lot of people are amazed because of the sound quality that it's done out of our house. But the question that I have is it usually wounded warriors around that area, or do you ever fly in warriors? Because listening to you, I didn't hear you talking about flying any in, and if you didn't if you didn't mention that, do you fly any wounded warriors in or not?
Well, what we do is we actually have warriors that have come in from 12 different states last year. A lot of them will either come in with a spouse or a friend, and they'll actually drive in. Our budgets, and we typically only end up with about $50,000 a year, and we have to stretch that for all of our programs. Now, we're 100% volunteers, so that $50,000 goes a very, very long way. And so what we do is we have some hotels in the area that we actually put these gentlemen up in for days, 3 or 4 days. Like I said, we get them out in high-speed bass boats when they come to our events. They actually all get a Lew's American Hero fishing rod and reel. They get a tackle box packed with about $500 worth of gear in it. They get an event shirt, a Lew's American Hero hat, and a pair of sunglasses, and then they actually compete for some really nice prizes: big screen TVs, computers, iPads, other fishing equipment if they're into wanting to pursue fishing even further. So there's it's a lightly competitive but a really fun environment. And we actually have gotten to the point over the last 5 years, we're in our 6th year now, where we bring in some of the top fishermen in the country. People like Shaw Grigsby, John Cruz, Mike Simonton, Paul Elias. I mean, there's just guys, Timmy Horton, that just come back year after year because they see what we put together is genuine. When these guys come, it's not like what I almost want to call a dog and pony show, like what happens at a lot of events where the guys are brought out and everyone says, "Oh wow, check out these guys, shake their hands." This is like a family when these guys come. We we consider this a giant extended family, and we stay in contact with a lot of them because of that. And it's just truly an inspirational thing that goes on. And we actually have a huge list of volunteers that grows every year. And a lot of our veterans that came in wounded now have gone out and bought bass boats, and they're back each year to actually keep this going. So it's a self-sustaining event now, because we don't have to worry about chasing after boaters to come take out veterans. We're actually having the veterans come in with their brand new boats and taking out other veterans, which is truly just amazing. I mean, I can't believe we've got to this point.
Danny has his mic on mute, so I'll go ahead and ask a real quick question. You might have said it, and I got TBI, so sometimes I forget it. If you did say it, and I apologize. But he was talking about dog and pony shows. Ron, was you ever in the military?
No, I was not. My brother did serve.
Okay.
I have lost a couple friends in the military, and I've had quite a few that did serve. This actually, like I said, has been a life-changing experience for me. I look at the world in a different way. I actually look at it. My faith has been renewed by being there for these veterans. It's really been a complete transformation of my life on how I am. I actually donate, as far as my time lies, between 40 to 60 hours a week to this foundation. And our foundation is 100% volunteer, so there is no pay, there is no benefits. The benefits we get are the smiles on the faces and the lovely emails and letters that come back from these warriors. So they're just truly amazing.
Awesome. Go ahead, Danny. I know you're itching for it.
Well, I did have a question. You might have mentioned it already, but where are you guys based out of?
We're actually based out of Woodbridge, Virginia. However,
yeah, you did say that. Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, it's about 25 miles south of Washington, D.C. We host our large event that we do once a year. We put out roughly about 100 veterans on the water with about 80 high-speed bass boats. And it is just a truly amazing event. We bring in, we get CEOs from major corporations like Lew's coming in to personally hand out the fishing rods, and stuff like that doesn't happen. To have the pros actually show up at an event and actually take these guys out is huge. And we brought in Timmy Horton Outdoors. He shot his television show at our event, and that's actually available on our website that people can watch on our YouTube channel. And Kim Stricker did his Hook and Look show, and it's just grown in popularity as far as the pros wanting to be involved, and they don't see another foundation doing it like this, because they know there's too many foundations out there that, in my opinion, are really taking advantage of the veterans, and I consider almost stealing money from them with the massive salaries and massive benefit packages and stuff. It's totally unnecessary. And these organizations could deal with a small payroll instead, and no big pension packages and travel accounts and stuff. They could learn a lot from us, because we stretch a dollar further than anyone, and we really do a tremendous job for the vets.
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons why we do this show, is because we don't like the nonprofits that have these big expenditures for themselves, because that's just taken away from the veterans. So the ones we do research on and everything, we find the ones that are, not taking the money for themselves, the ones that are actually legitimately helping the veterans as much as possible, without looking for something for themselves. It's kind of like that whole thing where you do something for somebody and don't expect anything in return. There's some out there that do expect something in return, and those are the ones we don't like to talk to. So we're there. So I was wondering, though, say me and Joel went with you guys one day, would you be able to give him like a My Little Pony reel that he could possibly use? Because I know he loves those pink and purple colors.
Actually,
all right, here we go. Here Danny comes with the jokes, everybody. Brace yourself. Buckle your seatbelts.
Some of the kids from the families at our events, and what we do when they show up, we do give them the Zebco rods and reels. But the gear that we actually provide, like I said, Lew's is an outstanding company. They've developed a line of fishing rods and reels called the American Hero Series. Now, they only have a couple of foundations that they work with. We were the first ones on board. And the reason for that is they saw what we were doing, and they wanted to be part of it. And this equipment, all the ones that they sell in the marketplace right now, come back to us in form of donations, where they'll actually, we can just call up the phone and say, listen, we're having an event, we need 100 rods and reels, can you ship them out? And they'll be here within a day or two. And like I said, all this gear that we give out, this is all free, and we hope to instill that hobby with these guys and with the equipment they have. I mean, they don't have to worry about buying anything for fishing for years, because we give them so much and make it possible where they can go out fishing anytime they want and not worrying about having to go to Bass Pro Shops or one of the other stores to buy gear. It's all there for them. And when they leave, they take all that with them.
That's so awesome.
So do you guys do just freshwater fishing, or do you guys do saltwater fishing as well?
We've done a few saltwater trips. We're going to start ramping that up some down in the Virginia Beach area. And we've got boat captains down there that are ready to go once the weather starts warming down there and more cooperative. We'll be doing that down in there, and possibly down as far as the Outer Banks in North Carolina, too, depending on the boat captains.
That's nice. What type of saltwater fish are out in that way?
Well, in the fall and winter, there's stripers. I mean, it all depends on the time of season. I'm not a big saltwater person. I know that you can catch anything from tuna to croaker to sharks. I mean, it's a wide variety. It depends on how long of a trip the guys are up for going on. If they go out to the continental shelf, about 25 miles out, I mean, they can catch almost anything. And it's those are the full day trips, and sometimes you can go out as long as 36 hours if the guys are up for the long trip.
Yeah, see, me, I like saltwater fishing. When I was stationed in Guantanamo Bay, I did a lot of fishing down there for red snapper. Of course, we catch the croakers and the reef shark and stuff like that. But I don't mind freshwater either, because you got the catfish, you got the bass, and you have all that. I'm not sure if Joel's a big fisherman. Joel?
I tell you, there's about 2 organizations around here that takes vets locally. They don't fly any vets in and out, and they've offered me to go to some events. Unfortunately, because of my PTSD, I can't fire a weapon. I don't even own a firearm. When I have a gun, my hands shake. That's how bad my PTSD is. But I do go fish. I find it very relaxing. My problem is, Ron, is when I go fish, I fall asleep, and I've lost 2 fishing poles because of it.
Yeah, see, the great thing that we do, with this veterans in an area that we actually are not in physically, we've actually formed what we call our Team RAHF. We actually have guys that own bass boats positioned around the country. And what happens is we get letters in from families and emails, or from the veterans themselves, asking if we can help get them out of the water for some recreational therapy. And what we actually do is we'll actually package up the same gear here that we do for our tournaments, and we will ship it out to our team member, and our team member will go pick them up at their house and take them out fishing at a local lake or local river in the area, and give them the equipment and teach them how to fish if they don't know how to fish. And like I said, a lot of special bonds have been formed on these one-on-one trips. They've been very instrumental in getting some of these guys out of the house that wouldn't leave prior. It's a whole new ball game when someone pulls up in an $80,000 bass boat, and they've got a whole bunch of equipment. And say, "Come on, let's go. I'm going to take you out in the boat. We're going to do a little fishing." And
that's awesome.
With the letters we get back,
yeah, these
guys are completely turned around. We do more in one day on some of these one-on-one trips than the VA's done for these guys in years. And I'm really proud of that aspect that we've actually been able to do it. And a lot of these guys were basically prisoners in their own homes, and now they're out tournament fishing. It's truly amazing.
Oh, yeah. So, like, for people like Joel, like he said, he falls asleep and, loses reels or whatever like that. Do you have somebody that comes out and, like, slaps him awake every once in a while? Or
Well, like I said, our team members are on top of the situation. They're there.
See, you hear that, Joel? He can slap you whenever he wants.
I don't need to worry about that because when you're with me, Danny, I don't need to worry about anybody
Falling asleep?
slapping me. I can always count on you, buddy.
Well,
Yeah, like I said, our team members are great. They really are. I don't know what we do without them. We have all of our local guys here too when we do the big tournament. But having guys strategically placed around the country is huge for us because, like I said, we don't have the big budgets that the other ones have. So our way of getting around that is to have local guys, in strategically placed areas, and we just send out the equipment and they take them out for us, rather than us having to fly people around the country, which gets real expensive.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I mean that's awesome. It's great that you guys have like feelers out there, I guess, and tentacles so that you can help any veteran in any state. But also, Joel, what I got out of that as well is that he can strategically place 20 people on the boat to slap you to keep you awake.
Ron, we're running out of time before we have to go to a station identification break. Can you tell us, how to donate, how to volunteer? Give us your website.
Yeah, sure. Our website is realamericanheroes.org, and that's real like a fishing reel, so REEL, American Heroes, HEROES.org. There is on our main homepage a spot that says Donate Now. You click on that link, and that'll take you over to our page to actually make the donation. It'll go through PayPal, which is extremely secure. We've had no issues with them. We've been using them for 6 years. And we, I know some of the other companies also take and they add, they build databases on people. We don't do any of that.
Yeah.
That information is not even provided to us. What we get is the actual donation. The people that donate get a receipt from PayPal, and if they were to purchase something from us, it'd be the same thing. The only thing we would get at that point would be the address, the name and address to ship the goods to them. Because we do sell things like shirts and hats and different things too.
Awesome.
But that is our website, and like I said, they can watch Timmy Horton Outdoors on there. You can actually see firsthand what an event is really like. It's really impressive.
And people can also sign up on your website to join up. Am I correct?
Yes, they can. We're going to actually open up our registration for our big event, which is going to be July 23rd. So that registration will open up. Right now we've had people contacting us for the Team REHF trips, but until we get to about April, those basically kind of just get put into queues, and then come April when it's a little bit warmer, we know the guys will catch fish. We start sending out equipment for those trips. But they can register on those pages too. There's a spot that says Team REHF Fishing Trips.
Awesome. Well, Ron, unless Danny has anything further, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about this great organization. We will have it up on our Facebook page and archived on the MBR Radio website. So if any listeners, if you missed this conversation or you want to know more about this organization, you can log on to mbradio.us or thebeer30show.com and have all the information as well as on our Facebook page. So
now there's one other way people can help us too if they'd like. What we actually have going on right now, like I said, we live off of grants and donations.
Right.
That actually, we work hard. We go in front of Bass Pro Shops. We ask for dollar by dollar. But we're actually right now in a 2-week contest to receive a grant. And that website is sweetwaterbrew.com/gives. And what we need is people to actually go out there and actually select the Real American Heroes Foundation and vote for us each day for the next 2 weeks. And we will be given, if we're in the top 5, we will be given a $2,000 grant. Now that $2,000 grant goes a long way when we actually pair up with our sponsors to put that gear together. That allows us to help quite a few more veterans and get equipment up for those team events.
All right, so let's say that website one more time because that sounds like a really important mission to do right now within the next couple of days. So that's
sweetwaterbrew.com/gives.
All right, everybody.
Like I said, this is a grant. It ends on February 15th at midnight. It started today, and it's really important when we go for these grants. It's important that we get as many people voting for us as possible because, like I said, we are 100% volunteer. There are not many veteran nonprofits like us, and we've been chosen 2 years in a row by GreatNonprofits.org as one of the top veteran nonprofits in the country because of how fiscally responsible we are.
All right, so everybody, if you're listening to this, make sure that you go to that website and you help this organization out because you're helping these vets get out of the house. It's very vital that we get these vets out of the house because if you keep these vets busy, me and Danny know, then we don't have time to sit there and think about stuff, especially when we have triggers that already brings up stuff. So once again, Ron, thank you so much for coming on the air, and hopefully we get to do an update that you guys won that grant.
Yeah, that would be great. I can, if you want to touch base with me on the 16th of February, we should know by then whether or not we've won one. We'd love to discuss it and what our plans are for that money. And also, I'm not sure, how hard it would be for you folks to come out and be at our event. We'd love to also extend an invitation for you to come to our tournament July 23rd in the Washington, D.C. area. And maybe you could even do one of your shows right there firsthand.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, Ron.
That'd be fun.
Well, Ron, thank you so much, and we will keep in touch, my friend.
Okay, thank you very much for the honor of letting us on this show.
No problem. Thank you.
We're glad to have you, Ron.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That is, and I'm not even going to try his last name because if I say his last name, I'll just say Frito-Lay. But that's Ron from
DeFreitas.
Real American.
DeFreitas.
Yeah. When I looked at that, I was thinking like Frito-Lay, and I knew that wasn't right, so I wasn't going to embarrass myself. But yeah, that's Real American Heroes.
Like the fishing reel.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't understand, Danny. Why is it so hard for organizations to follow that same format? I mean, I don't get it. But me and Danny, we're going to break for station identification. And keep in mind, everybody, that we got another 30 minutes. We got the power play. We got what did we learn? And you're going to enjoy the power play because here's a teaser. There is something that is coming up on Facebook, a private band that is going to get people really pissed off. If you want to hear more about that, tune in here pretty soon. Everybody, station identification.
And now, a message from your radio station.
We just like to say that any connection between your mother and us is purely Facebook related.
NBR Radio.